Morgan Show. We're live, broadcasting live all over the world. So we have broken records for views. We thank y'all so very much. So the word's getting out. It's the Charles Van Morgan Show. We are getting out more and getting more interaction than local news channels. So they can tell their lies, and it's not heard by very many people. And what we're telling the truth and getting the real truth out and getting it out to almost 1 million people, coming up on 1 million people. We may bust that today. So thank you all. Come on in. It's the Charles Van Morgan Show, broadcasting live, unbridled news, the real truth you won't hear anywhere else. We may have to take cover. We may have to find concealment because of the truth we're putting out against those in government power. You won't hear this anywhere else. The Charles Van Morgan Show. Thank y'all so very much. We broke a record yesterday. More than a half of 100,000 people watched the show live. We're getting out more than the local news channels. They put out lies, and people have caught on. They're not listening to the local news anymore. They're listening to independent broadcasters. And you won't get any more independent or any more truthful than the Charles Van Morgan Show. Come on board and watch. We have an interesting show for you today. We're going to look behind the scenes, pull the curtain back at what's going on in the government with the government being shut down. It's not really shut down. It's shut down for you. It's not shut down for them. It's working really well for them. They're still getting paid. They're still benefiting. Everything's going fine for our legislators and our people in government power. And they're still getting paid well. Now, the President of the United States, some people hate him. He's not getting paid. He's working without pay. He has both terms. So it's about being exploited by people in power and the people that pay the people in power to do whatever they want them to. So welcome and thank you for showing up. It's the Charles Van Morgan Show. Hello, Amy Loy, 4288. And go. Okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna put out the unbridled truth, the news. So we're going to talk about a concept called fair. Is the system fair? No, it's not. Hell no, it's not. If you think it is, then let me explain to you and educate you how it is not fair. I'm Charles Van Morgan. I have a doctor of jurisprudence. I got a law degree that I earned that I don't get any money for because the government exploited me. And they're exploiting you. Their law degrees are just fine. What we do is meaningless, worthless, because they're the one that tags a legal value on stuff that's not appropriate. They value you out, starve you out, and price themselves into millions and starve us. The system is bad. The system is wrong. So like, share, comment. It's the Charles Van Morgan Show, live in the morning. We're going to get into this dialogue about fair, but first we're going to talk about something in the news about Mr. Glenn Cossida, who just got pardoned by the president. And we're going to talk about another criminal in our Tennessee government. It's Mr. Cameron Sexton. What he's doing, ripping you off. Come on in, Charles Van Morgan in the morning. You won't hear this truth anywhere else. It's dangerous for me to say. I've already gotten knocked down, beat up, took to the hospital and then to jail for telling the truth. And it just made it worse. Time we get done with them, they'll squeal like a pig because they're dirtbag liars. This is the Charles Van Morgan Show, live in the morning, broadcasting. We're liable to show up at any location where news is going on, because the only place you can find real news, what's really going on, is glad you can use YouTube at your age. Yeah, okay, make fun of me. Yeah, oh, I'm gonna turn it off. You hurt me so bad. What idiots you all are. You know, if you got a little education in sociology, you know that the crowd is a good thing. So Charles Van Morgan. So we're going to talk about Cameron Sexton. We're going to talk about the how unfair the system is, and we're going to talk about what's going on behind. It's not really shut down. It's shut down for you. It's not shut down for people in elite power. They're doing just fine. They're getting their paychecks. It's the hardworking Americans that are not getting their paycheck. It's the hardworking Americans that are getting ripped off. So come on in, the Charles Van Morgan Show. Got an interesting show for you today. Thank you all so very much. Coming up on 1 million people. Coming up on broadcasting 1 million people here pretty soon. Maybe today we might be able to break 1 million people we've broadcasted to in a little over a month, more than the local news channels. So we're getting out and we're telling the truth about things the way they really are, unbridled, making a lot of people in government power mad, making them squeal like a pig, like the pigs they are, and goats, because they'll eat anything. So let's talk about Glenn Costa. So he had a fake business that he ripped off taxpayers and mailed out flyers to keep his buddies in office after he got kicked out of the legislature for not doing right, sexually explicit comments and text messages and stuff. So he must have made somebody mad in the legislature, because they don't get rid of the hierarchy unless the hierarchy, they do something so wicked it makes them mad that they can't hang on to them, it makes them look bad, or he's got something on some people and they want to disgrace him, they want to make him look bad. So he got pardoned by the president today for his crimes that he was convicted in a federal court. But let's look at Cameron Sexton. He's a legislator right now, a head legislator, head lawmaker. Wow, big fancy position. He's probably one that knows the law and one that obeys the law, right? Let's look at his crimes. Tennessee legislator. He puts down, and he's getting paid while the government shut down. The federal government shut down, not the Tennessee state government, but it affects the Tennessee government. But he lives in Nashville, Tennessee, just a few miles from where he goes to work. He just has to drive down the street, go to the state capitol, and preside over the disgusting legislature in the state of Tennessee, the Republican legislature. I mean, I'm just saying, the Republican legislature. That's got the system rigged so well in their favor. They buy elections and they keep buying elections. They're not really elected based on the populace of the people, because we haven't got a social conscience yet, but we're damn sure trying to get one. So he lives in Nashville, but he got elected in Crossville because Nashville is notoriously Democratic. He's a Republican. He couldn't get elected in Nashville. He wouldn't get enough votes. So he ran for office in Crossville, where he owns a house, but he don't live. He owns a couple houses because he's super rich, because he's a government service, right? I mean, if you're in government service, then you have to sacrifice for the public good. You're a servant of the public. You're a waiter and you serve the public. Yeah, right. They're the richest people on the planet. Some of them are. So he lives in Nashville. He's got a house in where he couldn't have got elected. He has a house in Crossville, and he gets a per diem, like he drives all the way from Crossville to Nashville. They pay him for his gas and his time. It's several $100s a year. It's almost $100,000 a year that he gets for driving from Crossville to Nashville. But he don't live in Crossville. He lives in Nashville. He drives a few miles to the courthouse where his daughter's enrolled, his family, his children are enrolled in school in Nashville. So he lives in Nashville. So he's ripping taxpayers off almost $100,000 a year. How would you like it to have about $80,000, $90,000 in your bank account for doing nothing every year on the backs of hardworking taxpayers. Be a real nice thing. And he's head over the legislature in the state of Tennessee. What about that crime's going on? You think he's going to make a law to outlaw himself and criminalize himself? No, he'll make laws to aim to put you in jail. And if you vote against him, they'll try to make you a felon, so you can't vote anymore. But that's how they rip off and they rape the system. And hardworking people have to pay their tax money to pay Cameron Sexton for his lies. And the reason why he's in power is because he backs up the governor. You can commit any heinous criminal act you want to as long as you back up the governor. And even if you get convicted of a crime, you're going to get pardoned, because law is crime is depending on, if it's criminal, depending on who's in power, who's not in power. I guarantee you, if a Democratic president was in power, they wouldn't have pardoned Glenn Cassidy. And a Republican in office is not going to charge Glenn Cassidy. So that's part of the crooked that they're doing in the state of Tennessee. And these people are they're over law enforcement. They tell you what's a crime and what's not a crime, and tell law enforcement to come and get you or not come and get you based on what they claim is the law. And he claims it's okay for him to rip you off out of about $100,000 a year when he drives a few miles, and he claims he lives in Crossville when he don't. So a liar and a lawmaker, wow, that goes together. And that's par for the course. There's probably more stuff behind the scenes that we don't even know are going on. So let's talk about the government shutdown. Let's talk about FAIR. Now, the government is not really shut down. It's working just fine. It's working for the people in power. They got their paychecks. They got their income coming in. That ain't never going to stop. They got their millions. They got their money from stocks and bonds, and they got their money from the stock market, where they get insider trading information that they tell you nothing about. Their system's working just fine. The system is shut down for hardworking people that are still having to work. We're still having to pay our taxes. You won't get a reduction in any taxes because the government is shut down for a little while. Isn't that a beautiful system for people in power to rig up? So we need to make sure and talk about fairness, make sure the system is fair, because it's so very unfair, so very unfair, so very crooked. And we need to make sure that there's a fair allocation of resources. Everybody's getting their fair share. What's happening now in this government, in this system that they have set up for us to pay them while we work hard and do without, in their system of unfairness, they make sure that they get paid. So we need to make sure that there's a fair allocation of resources. Now, what happens is these rich people are manipulating the financial system and not carrying the load and not doing anything to benefit society, and getting an unequal distribution of the work, services, and an unequal distribution of the resources. People that are working hard, that deserve the resources, that are carrying the load, that are doing the work, their government shut down right now. People that are manipulating the system, that don't deserve the share that they're getting, are legalizing it and making it where they get an unequal distribution of the resources in society. So fair. The second thing is accountability. We have a national debt that's several $billion a day accumulates debt. That's money for nothing from these people that have gotten money to invest for nothing. We need to work on the national debt. There needs to be some accountability about reducing the national deficit. The national deficit is something that our children are going to have to pay if we don't start working on the national deficit. So we need to make sure that resources are handed out according to what people are owed. They get their fair share. The richest people in the world in the United States own about 90% of all the resources. And we own about the people hardworking carrying the load that are serving these people have about 10% of the resources. So there's an unfair allocation of resources in America. The national debt is starving us out. They're using our resources, our work, to continue to rob the system. We need to do something about the national debt. And what we can do about the national debt is make sure that we have a tax system that is fair, that we tax these billionaires appropriately according to what they owe. For example, Mr. Bill Haslam, that gets billions, is worth billions, gets his money sitting behind a desk off poor convenience store workers that are carrying the load, the most dangerous job in the world. He needs to pay his fair share of taxes to put back in the system to provide health care, to provide a fair wage, to provide food stamps for his hard workers that can't afford it. You look at the Tennessee Supreme Court. Look at the Tennessee Supreme Court. They're public servants. They're in the government. They're worse than the rest of the bunch. They put out these laws that protect Glenn Costa, and they put out these laws that protect the government from their crimes. And they're the most wicked people. What they do, they have an unequal allocation of resources, undeserved. It's not deserved. And they make it legal. They make the laws. They're the Supreme Court. They decide the law in Tennessee. They're the supreme arbitrator of what's right and wrong. And they decided it's right for them to have everything. It's right for them to get money for free, and it's right for you to work for them. I mean, does that seem fair to me? And I'll explain it to you how they do it. Let's see how many people we got on here. Got about 102. So like, share, comment. So there is a unequal distribution of resources, and people in government power are making it legal for them to steal from you. They don't call it theft. They change it from theft to this is the legal and appropriate way to handle things. We get everything and you get starved. That's what they're doing. And here's how they do it. Now, see, Supreme Court unjustices. Now, who calls Tennessee Supreme Court unjustices? You know, I'd be afraid of them, wouldn't you? Well, I'm not too much afraid of them. They've taken so much from me, I don't have anything else they can take. I guess they could take my life. And a lot of the Tennessee Supreme Court justices would like to kill me. I guarantee they would like to. Because I'm speaking the truth to power to almost 1 million people. Spread, share, like the message. Let's spread this message to 1 million people. We'll talk about our unjust Tennessee Supreme Court injustices. Every one of them need to be impeached, taken out of office, investigated, and put behind bars. And their money taken from them and given back to the people that they stole it from. Our Tennessee Supreme Court injustices are thieves. They're dirty thieves. So who else says that? I'm just saying, Charles Van Morgan show. You'll get a little bit of the truth. I have a doctor of jurisprudence. I have a master of arts in sociology with an emphasis in criminology. From an educated perspective, the biggest criminals in the state of Tennessee is the Tennessee Supreme Court injustices, the Tennessee Board of Law Examiners, the judges all across Tennessee. I have an expert opinion on it. Graduated from a criminology major university, and I studied crime, and it's crimes of the privilege that are raping the system. That's why the system's shut down, because we've been giving them so much, and they don't want to pay anybody. So here's what the Tennessee Supreme Court injustices do. The wicked people in the Tennessee Supreme Court, here's what they do to rip citizens off. So they have manipulated the system And they need to pay back Californians. They need to pay back Texans, Arizonans. They need to pay back Floridians. They need to pay back. They need to pay back people in New York. They even rip off New York people. So they retire from the bench of the Tennessee Supreme Court. And then they go on to rob you of your tax money. Yeah, they do. Here's how they do it. They go on to put their name as deans on law schools. They're supposed to be public servants. They're not public servants. They're servant. The public is serving them. The public serving them is what they ought to call their name. This is unjustice so and so, and the public serves you. You know, let's go clean for them and do whatever for them so they can write rules in their favor against us to make it legal for us to have to serve them. For us to have to give them our last dollar while people are going homeless. But they retire from the bench, and then they, using their name, that's a public's name. It's a public justice. It's a public Supreme Court justice. The name, it's a position that is a position for us. But they use the clout of that position, to go on and be deans of law schools. And they go on to get positions, paid positions in the Board of Law Examiners, which decides who gets to be a lawyer and who don't. And if you speak out against their robbery, their legalized robbery, it's not legal robbery, it's legalized. They legalize robbery. They make from people all over the world. Pretty much by all of the United States, they steal people's tax money. They get tax money because they retire from the Tennessee Supreme Court and they go and get jobs as deans, like Lincoln Memorial University School of Law, and like University of Tennessee School of Law, and like Barker, who was on the Board of Law Examiners, and Mr. Harbison, who wasn't in the government, but he was taking tax money as an instructor as a professor at National School of Law. So they get all this money in the pretext of serving the public. They're not serving the public. They're getting buku amounts of money. They're getting paid right now. The government shut down. They're getting paid. They don't get paid. The government's not shut down. It's shut down for you. They don't want to pay you, but they're getting paid just fine, and they'll always get paid because they're the ones that decide who gets paid and who don't get paid. And they decide they get paid, and they want you to work for free. They've worked me for free. While they were defaming me, they tried to work me for free, and I did for the public good. But they get dean positions at law schools, and deans at law schools make about $500,000 a year. So after they retire from their Supreme Court judgeship, you know, where they think they're better than us, because when you come into court, people have to, all rise, Justice Coke, stand up for Justice Coke, and everybody. So he thinks, yeah, I'm a great man. Look, everybody's got to stand up when I come in the room. I'm the big dog. Yeah, you ain't nothing but a dirty liar, a thief, riding around your BMW. You're not better than people. You're worse. You swore to uphold the Constitution, uphold the rule of law. You swore to fairness, and then you violate it and think you ought to be in jail. Just because you make laws where you're not in jail and help other Supreme Court justices don't mean you're dope Coke. So they think they're better than us. They're much better than us. We owe them. We owe them to work for them. You ought to go to work hungry every day, like they did in Nazi Germany. Go to work hungry every day and serve them. Clean up their chair, make sure they're comfy, make sure they have the best cars, clean the cars out, clean their house out, bring them food. We owe them. Human beings are better than other human beings, right? Yeah, somewhere I read that we all have rights, that we're all created equal. And you're not better than us, and we're going to bring your house down. We're going to bring it down with some truth. Now, they write their opinions in legal opinions. We are better than, they literally almost write that. We are better than you. They write it when they say, you lose this case even when you're right. So we're better than you, and you're right. Doesn't matter. We write that we're better than you. They're baloney court rulings. They don't have anything to do with the Constitution that we agreed to. and that soldiers fight and die too. They step all over it. Dope Coke steps all over the Constitution. Barker steps all over the Constitution. Penny White steps all over the Constitution. Mr. Harbison steps all over the Constitution. These justices in Tennessee, unjustices, step all over the Constitution. That somewhere they read that they was better than us, and they got that in their little brain. And we need to give them an attitude adjustment. Adjust their dirty attitude. They're not better than us. They're actually worse, because people are better or worse. They're born equal. They're better or worse depending on what they do. They have grown up to rob you of everything you got and even shut the government down now while you're working for them for nothing. Keep doing it. Vote them in. Hell yeah, I deserve to work for somebody the rest of my life and live in poverty. And then when I'm about to die, I have no medical treatment. But I guarantee you, Dope Coke does. I guarantee you, Harbison does. I guarantee you, Penny White does. I guarantee you, look at the age of these people that are in government power. I mean, if this doesn't alarm you, the age of these people when they die, look at their age. Look at their age. You live a long time when you have the best medical care in the world, when you got everybody's money, when you got everybody else's medical care, when you don't have to work, when you have an easy life. You never had to work a damn day in your life. You live a long time. And when you're about to die, they spend all this money keeping them alive. Look at the lifespan of people in government power. They live a long time because they have the best health care in the world. You don't, but they do. Look at the lifespan of the workers that provide the services, that keep them alive, that provide the services, that run the economy, that work, that drive the trucks, that move things around. Look at the lifespan of these people. We die young. Their average lifespan. A smoker the other day, a man that smoked all his life, got us in the Iraq War. The former vice president got us in the Iraq War, died the other day. He lived to be 85 years old, had 5 heart attacks before he was 50 because he smoked. He smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day. How did he live to be 85 years old? Because he had the best health care in the world. A lot of people died in a war because of him. People in power get all the resources. They live longer, do better, have everything while you have nothing. And you really have nothing now because you're working for damn free. And that's the way they think that's appropriate. Attitude adjustment. You know, the way we used to give people an attitude adjustment. When I was in high school, I'm not saying do this now. I'm just saying symbolically. Symbolically, you know, you try to walk in the classroom to learn, get an education where you learn to read and write in high school, and some damn bully stand in the door and say, "Give me your cookie." And my mom gave this to me. I'm not giving you my cookie. Push me by the way. Say, "Hell no! Give me your damn cookie, or I'll beat the hell out of you." So, being raised like I was, from a lesson that I learned when I was a little kid, and this is a lesson I learned. I want all y'all to learn this lesson. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I was at my friend's house, and I'll stand him out. He knows it's true. He can tell you, he can verify it. I was at Brad Holt's house, South Knoxville. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I had never been in a fight in my life. And this guy named, I'll call him Chris. I'm not going to tell you his last name because I done took care of him. And I think he knows who's the boss. But he came over. I was in my friend Brad's house. We were sitting in his kitchen and at the table. And he said, Chris is coming over. And Chris came over and told me to push me, told me, get home. Go on. We don't want you around here. So, you know, I hate to say it, but I thought, hey, I'm supposed to go. So I went home. I ran home, and on the way I felt like about that big because I ran home. There was something not right about that, and I wasn't smart enough at that age to figure it out. But I ran home. I did. About 7 or 8 years old, and I was at my friend's house few days later, that's what you learn in South Knoxville. That's what some of y'all probably already know, and if you don't know it, I'm about to teach you. So I didn't have a dad or anybody to defend me, any brothers. And Chris he was even littler than me. And Brad was my friend. He was a lot older than me. And was at his mother's house. He was about 12 years old. I was about 7 or 8. And I was at his house another day, and he told me Chris is coming over. And I'm like, well, I guess I need to go. He'll make me leave. And Brad Holt said, man, he said, you're bigger than him. You ain't got to run home. Don't let him run you home. Don't let him do that to you. Stand up to him. And, I was scared to death. About 7, 8 years old, so I didn't go. So Chris came over and told me go home. Stern face. Tennessee Supreme Court Unjustices, people in government power, give us your cookie. Go home. We're the boss. But it's mine. He's my friend. I ain't got to go home. We can both stay and play. No, go home. And I remember what Brad told me. You don't have to go home. You can stand up to him. So we got out in the front yard. True story. Got out in the front yard. And we got out in the front yard. Me and him both. And we're going to square off. Because I wasn't going home. Brad told me not to go home. And I was scared to death. But I was going to stand up to him. This is my friend Brad, and hoping he didn't do me in. Because I was scared to death. Never been in a fight before. And so Chris Smith put up his hands. Excuse me, Chris. I'm not going to say his full name. He put up his hands and he punched me. He hit me. And felt like a little skeeter. That didn't hurt me at all. And I'm like, is that what I was afraid of? Is that what I ran all the way home for a few days ago? That wasn't nothing. That didn't hurt me. And I punched him pretty damn hard. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you something happened when I was about 7, 8 years ago. Statute of limitations over if police want to get me for assault, and it was self-defense. But you know how they twist things. But and you can do that, whatever. I'm going to defend myself. We'll work that out in the court of law. But so I punched him, and you should have seen the look on his face. It hurt him. It hurt him. I seen the look on his face. Body language, dead giveaway. I knew I had him then because he didn't hurt me. It felt like a little skeeter when he hit me. And when I punched him, the look on his face was, oh no, this ain't working out the way I thought it would. So I hit him again. And, a little attitude adjustment. Knocked the hell out of him. I didn't kill him, I just punched him. He was trying to make me go home. And about that time, my mother pulls up, told me to get in the car, and so I did. I obeyed my mother, but I never had to run from him ever again. Never ran one time from him again. And if you ever seen that show, on Andy Taylor, where the guy's wanting, and look it up, where the guy's wanting Andy Taylor's little boy, Opie, to go with them and the other boys to run around, steal apples out of other people's tree and stuff. And Andy's little boy Opie decides he's not going to go along with the program. Little life lessons that they teach in these shows that I learned on my own in Brad Holt's front yard over there on Florence. True lesson. I don't run from anybody since then. Learn better. You don't have to. You can punch them out. You'll win the fight. You just got to stand up to them. And even if you lose, even if I lost that fight, I'd felt a hell of a lot better than it did when I ran home. And it's better to lose a fight than stand there and run. Now, I'm not talking about taking cover where you don't get killed, but you'll win the fight. But Opie's little boy stood up to the bully because his daddy talked to him. And the bully said, Opie said he wasn't going to go robbing. And the boy said, okay, we're going to fight. So he drew a line. And he said, if you step across that line, we'll fight. So Opie's boy, scared to death, stepped across the line. And that was all she wrote. Look it up. It's on Andy Taylor. It's a little lesson about how to do bullies. These people in government power are bullying us. They're saying, give us your damn cookie. Hell no. Hell no. You give us what you owe us. The cookies you've been taking away from us. So then the guy put a limb on his shoulder, said, if you knock this limb off, then we're going to fight. And then he knocks the limb off. I hope he knocks the limb off the bully. And then the bully says, well, I got to go home and change my clothes. So you're lucky I got on clean clothes. When I come back, then we'll fight. So they always weasel their way out of stuff. But what we need to do to these people in government power, what we need to do is give them an attitude adjustment. Knock that head. And not literally, but figuratively. Knock that noggin in. Shake that head a little bit around. Adjust that little thinking a little bit where they're going along with you. They're not going along with you right now. They're not going to. They need the attitude adjusted. Not exactly that way. Figuratively, but you know what I'm talking about. Come on in, everybody's welcome. It is the Charles Van Morgan Show, and y'all are welcome. Let's see the sign here. Welcome to the Charles Van Morgan Show. We'll read a few comments. So like, share, comment. Religious is why people are dying and suffering. No, it's not. False religions maybe are, but not religion. So Trump is a business owner too and is a complete moron, just saying. Well, he's a pretty good moron if he made it all the way to the White House. So I want some of that moron, if that's what that is. I mean, some of you people are so funny. So we need to give these people in government power an attitude adjustment. Figuratively, not really. Smash that head up against the door frame. You get my cookie. And then when they get their head shook up a little bit, wait a minute now, I understand. I understand what you're saying. Where you can talk and argue and fuss and complain all you damn want to, and ain't gonna do no good till they get that little adjustment in their thinking. They get it put hard on them, and I'm not talking about hitting them, I'm talking about figuratively. We need to put the hurt on them. You can stand and argue and complain, gripe, tell them it's my money and you don't get it and all, yada, yada, yada. We can do that all day long, and they're never going to give up. They will never give up their power. They will never give it up. Never, not in a million years. And they will even come after you. Try to grab your cookie. What you're going to have to do, what we're going to have to do, is we're going to have to knock that noggin in, shake that head up, put a little hurt on that noggin, figuratively, just figuratively. TBI, FBI, THPP, CID, ATF, don't come at me, I'm talking figuratively. I'm not going to hurt anybody, but figuratively, trying to keep myself out of jail because they'll run after me and charge me. Figuratively, an attitude adjustment. Now, there's more ways than one to adjust that damn attitude. I'm just telling you, the way it works on the street when you're 7 or 8 years old is the same way it works when you're 78 years old. It's still same human principles. It still works, giving people an attitude adjustment. And the attitude adjustment, I'm about to tell you about that. So hang on, we'll tell you about the little attitude adjustment that we're fixing to deliver. We're delivering a little attitude adjustment right now by putting out to the public who's responsible for these atrocities in the state of Tennessee and in the United States of America, and putting out to the public. They're not used to being talked to like a dog, like they talk to you. I'm telling you, these people are crooks and criminals. They're worthless. They're worse than regular criminals. They're suit crimes, people in government power crimes. Look it up. They're criminaloids, and they want to take what you got, and they don't want to pay you for it, and they want you to work for them for nothing, like Tennessee Supreme Court injustices. What they do is they get a job. They get a job using their name as a public servant, and they weren't serving the public, serving themselves, at law schools, and these professors in these law schools get a job, tax paid, as a gatekeeper of who's a lawyer, and keep people out that won't praise them, and put people in that'll back up their dirty system, and they get tax money in the form of student loan money. People say under Biden, he did wrong, you borrowed money, you ought to pay money back. And students used to tell me, well, I paid my money back, and everybody ought to pay their money back. And that's a real good self-centered approach to a massive problem of feeding the rich and serving the powerful that don't deserve it at the expense of the poor. I mean, look beyond. Follow the money to its fruition. Don't just look at stuff on the surface. You borrowed money, you ought to pay it back. How about people in government power stole your money? They stole your money, and they ought to pay you back. That's the way it is. Because I still owe for my law degree, and I can't even use it. And they're benefiting from it. They use my money to adjudicate against me. And that's what they do. They use your money to adjudicate against you. Wow, isn't that amazing? Works out wonderful for them, doesn't it? A bunch of thieves, legalized crimes. What they do, they legalize their criminal activity. That's what people in Tennessee power do. They're crooked as hell. They're dirty as hell. We need to lock them up, investigate them and lock them up. So people in California, all over the United States, you ought to be mad as hell, and it's knocking them in the head a little bit, figuratively. Just putting out the truth about them. They're criminals. People in California, people in Texas, people in Florida, people in New York, it's gone socialist now, ought to be mad at Tennessee Supreme Court injustices, because you had to pay your taxes. You had to pay taxes to the federal government. Every year people had to pay taxes. You had to pay a lot of money, and you know who got that money? You know who got that money? These former Tennessee Supreme Court injustices. They sat on law schools, got $500,000 a year for putting their name on the door, probably didn't even show up there. They probably emailed them their banking card number where the law school could send them the federal student loan money to their accounts. So they put their name on the door. They probably email them their bank account number. So students come in there and pay buku amounts of money for a legal education. And from a student loan, they borrow money because the student loan, the cost to go to law school is so astronomically high. And other professions the same damn way. They exploit the tax money by getting money for nothing, for not doing anything, putting their name on the door, using their former Supreme Court injustice name. So they use their name that's praised by them because they exploited you to get millions more of your dollars through putting their name on the door, sending LMU their bank card number. Students come in there, they give them tax money because they can't go to law school unless they pay millions of dollars because it's so expensive. So they have to borrow federal student loan money, which is federal tax money. The federal student loan program is set up by taxpayers pay into that program. So people in Florida, people in California, people in Texas, people in New York, and every state in between pay into the tax system, into the federal student loan program. You pay for these students going to law school, and then they pay the law school students trying to get an education so that they can work and help humanity, help society. So because they have belief in the judicial system until they really know what it's like. And they borrow money, and they don't get the money. They get an education that is nowhere near worth as much as what they're paying for it, because the people in power are the one that set the price. And they set the price pretty damn high because they know that there's got an endless amount of tax money. They ain't got to worry about the students paying it. If they had to rely on what the students could pay, then it wouldn't be that much, because students don't have much money, poor students. But they're riding on the bank. They've made that student federal loan money available to them. They passed federal student loans. So they're relying on the bank of the federal government, which is your money. It's not their money, it's your money. So student loans pay them, and outrageous students pay these people, borrow the money, because they couldn't go to law school without borrowing the money. It's so high. these schools made the price of the legal education so high that they have to borrow money to go to law school. And then when they borrow the money, the students borrow the money, and then they pay Dean Koch, they pay these unjust penny white, they pay Mr. Barker, who was on the board that gets rid of good lawyers like me, because the Board of Law Examiners gets thousands and thousands of student loan money, gets thousands and thousands of government money, and they keep good lawyers out, and they get tax money to do that. And the tax money comes from all over the United States of America. So people all over the United States of America should be mad as hell at the Tennessee Supreme Court justices. They have set up a bank where tax money goes into their bank, their rip-off law schools. And all the money across America, they made it legal. They made a student loan program where you're taxed to pay student loans, and your money goes in a bank. Money comes out of your back pocket. Money comes out of your back pocket and goes to, money comes out of your pocket and goes into their bank, their little law school, and then the government steals your money. So here's a law school. And your money. Here's a law school. Here's your money. Here's your money's in that law school right there. Your money's right there in that law school. Here's a law school. Your money right there. You get taxed from Texas, California, Tennessee, New York. Your money, Arizona down here, AZ. Your money right here. Your money right here. This money goes into this law school in the form of federal student loan money. And then these justices put their name on door. Name on door. And these justices get your money. They get your money from California, and it's in the form of tax money. So they've set up a system to rob you of your money. Tennessee Supreme Court justices. Where else do you hear that from? You hear anybody else telling you that? And then people like me that pointed out, that tell you that they're robbing you, it's a legal robbery system. The Tennessee Supreme Court Justice, Mr. Barker. Now he's deceased now. You know something about a dead person? You can't defame a dead person. I'm telling you the truth. But he's deceased, so I can't defame him anyway. If they want to sue me for defaming them, the Supreme Court Justice would probably sue me, and they'd rule that even though I told the truth, they would adjudicate that I said something false about them, because I'm exposing their criminal syndicate, where people from California, you know, there's a lot of homeless out there. You know, these Supreme Court justices in Tennessee, you know, they get all your money. They got big fine houses while you're homeless. So that's a good system for them, isn't it? And we need to stand up for them and give them our cookie. Let's give them a little attitude adjustment. Let's knock them out of office in 2030. Don't vote for any damn one of them. They're super rich. And then, if we can get somebody in power that'll do it, maybe me, I don't know. Let's investigate them, their thievery. Let's investigate their criminal syndicate. And let's take their money that they've robbed, the student loan money, and give it back to people that we owe it to. Give it back to Californians. California, be mad at Tennessee justices. It's not me, I'm telling you. They're stealing from you. You need to get your money back. People in Texas, hey, maybe you could have had a better system, a better emergency management system to protect children if you had more money, that Tennessee didn't tax you from the student loan program, pay these justices to have all kinds of emergency management stuff to protect their lives. And is that a system that you want to live in? It's not one that I agree with. It's one that they have mandated through their corrupt legal system that that's the way we should do. Now, is any wonder why they won't let me be a lawyer? Because I won't let them rob you and make it legal to rob you. You know, crime is just what people in power say it is. It's not inherently good or bad for the public. People in power write the laws to make what they do for their benefit legal and to make what you do criminal if you don't provide for them. Law depends crime is a social construct written by them for them. If they commit something that's harmful to society, they don't call it a crime. It's not written as a crime. It's legal. They write the laws. They make it legal for them to rob the student loan bank because they're robbing the hell out of it. And they don't even need it. If you go in and ask for your money back, they'll call that a crime. They'll call it intimidation. Or they'll put you in jail if you run for public office and threaten to have a special investigator to investigate stuff. Because crime should be what's harmful to society and not what is harmful to the small elite group at the top of the bank, because that's what they're doing to you. You won't hear that anywhere else. Charles Van Morgan Show. Charles Van Morgan Live. So, yeah, thank y'all so very much for listening. We're not done yet. Get to the other side of the bridge and we're going to show you a little more stuff. Let's look at the beautiful scenery. See how many people got on here. We got about 80. A little bit more of that. Like, share, comment. There's the city-county building. Contribute to the... And there's the closed down bridge. And beautiful Tennessee River. There's the crooked courthouse where they commit all these atrocities right there. All these atrocities. They make rulings in their favor. They talk to you like a dog, these justices. They won't let me in that courthouse. They won't let me practice law in that courthouse and defend the public because I won't defend their little criminal syndicate. So that's the way the Tennessee Supreme Court unjustices. That's the way they rob you of your money all across America. I would demand my money back from the Tennessee Supreme Court unjustices. And Tennessee, we need to vote against these people. It's not right that we as citizens don't vote. And in 2030, we got an opportunity to vote the Tennessee Supreme Court out of office. Get a special prosecutor and put their hind ends in jail. You can't steal our cookies and get by with it unless y'all want to keep letting them. I don't. So we're on the way to the other end of the bridge. We'll set up shop. The Henley Street Bridge is my pulpit. And we'll discuss a little more of the concept of fair, what's really going on in the state of Tennessee, in the United States of America under the government shutdown. First thing I mention is fair allocation of resources. It's not a fair allocation of resources when we have the Tennessee Supreme Court unjustices, these professors in law school, robbing tax money in the form of student loans. You can ask students to pay it back. Follow the money to its fruition. Where did the student loan money go to? It went to these Supreme Court justices that set the price. So it's a ripoff. And so there needs to be a fair allocation of resources. Instead of robbing the poor, we need to make the rich pay their fair share. You know, when Haslam got in office, he ended his taxes. He used government power to end his taxes. He ended his inheritance tax. And then he raised your taxes. That's what these people do when they're in government power. Now, he didn't tell you he's going to do that. He lied to you. He's a liar. He's a dirty liar. Another billionaire called him a scoundrel. You know, when other billionaires run you down, you know you got to be a creep. So, he lives right here in Knoxville. How you doing, Bill? Got his name on a building over there, University of Tennessee. How disgusting is that? A name on the Haslam School of Business, Haslam School of how to rip people off. I got my name on a degree over there in criminology, where I learned how he's a criminal. I learned how to count the numbers and follow the trail and figured out he's a criminal. He exploits people. He ought to be in jail. He's harmful to society. Bill Haslam has been more harm to society than any one crook's ever been. He's raped the coffers of the American public for years. And part of his billions need to be given back to the public that he stole it from. That's not socialism. That's fighting his socialism, because he's got it set up where he gets everything for nothing. And we need to give it back to the American people, where people won't be going hungry like they are right now. So we'll talk about fair allocation of resources and accountability. I'm trying to hold them a little bit accountable right now. Financial accountability. The national deficit has ballooned. It's several $1 billion a day that we have to pay back in interest. Mr. Haslam and these rich people ain't paying back that interest. So let's see how many people we got in here. This is the backup on the bridge today. Thank y'all for joining me. We're talking about fair. We're talking about the government being shut down. The government shut down for them, but the government shut down for you, but the government opened for them. That's a little bit unfair. So we're talking about a fair share accountable. A stands for addressing the national deficit. There's a lot of people that are getting money, they're not doing anything. And raising the national deficit. We need to investigate. A lot of people and companies in the United States of America are moving money around. They're not doing anything prosperous for society. The people that get the resources, the people that benefit from getting food and resources should be the people who are providing a service, who are carrying the load. That everyday Tennesseans, truck drivers, nurses, doctors, people that are actually performing a service to benefit society, that are carrying the load, that are producing something. Unlike lawyers, you know what $1 million lawyers at the bottom of the ocean is? A good start. They're the ones behind a lot of this rape and robbery. The people that are carrying the load, that are doing the work, that aren't getting paid right now, that are carrying the load in the government, they're expecting them to work for free. They like that situation. They're getting paid. So the people that are carrying the load, that are moving stuff, that make society go, that produce food, that take it to market, that provide the services, should be getting paid. Or it gets to a point where stuff won't be moved if you're not paying the people that move it, because they're not going to work for free, because they're not going to be able to eat. They're not going to be able to. And there's people that are going hungry to this day. Hello. And so people that are carrying the load should be the people that are benefit, that are getting the resources for the work that they do. But there are people in the government and in Wall Street that get money for doing nothing. And there's people in government service that get money for doing nothing. Like I mentioned to you, the Supreme Court justices get money for their name being on the door. And they get tax money for that, for not doing nothing. And they are getting resources. And it gets to a point where if people are starving to death and they're the ones providing the service, they're going to quit providing the service. It locks down the economy. That's what's going on right now. The economy is locked down because people that are providing the services aren't getting anything, and people that are getting the services provided for nothing, that are getting all your tax money, aren't doing anything, aren't carrying the load, and they're demanding with a gun to their head, you keep working. You know, it's like, no, we're not doing that. So they're putting money in offshore accounts. They're raping the system, moving money around. They're making money by moving money around, getting interest and doing things that do not contribute to society. And then they're moving it overseas where we can't get to it. They're exploiting people in the United States of America, stealing our money through different mechanisms that they have money because they've stole it from you, and they're getting interest off their money that's doing nothing, making you pay for money that should belong to you in the first damn place. And then they're moving it overseas to overseas accounts where Americans don't seemingly have access to get it back, and continuing to rape America of its services and giving nothing for it, and then putting the money out of our reach. So we need to investigate. That's the next thing we need to investigate. That's part of fair. Investigate these offshore accounts. Investigate these people in Wall Street. Investigate these people that pay an unduly amount of money to these legislatures to get passed laws that get them money for nothing. And investigate them. And we need to get the money back to the people that are doing the work, because we're not getting paid for what we deserve. It's not socialism. It's fighting their socialism and their criminal conduct. So what we need is reform. We need to go to these overseas accounts, and we need to get our money back and give it back to the hardworking people in the United States of America. We need to be fair and do what's right for the American people. We need complete reform of the system. It starts at the voting booth. So the shutdown of food stamps, but look who's still getting paid. A shutdown, the same privileged people running the system. That's not an accident. That's structural inequality. The system's not equal. It's broke, it's bent, it needs to be fixed. So it's social stratification. Society ranks people into rich, middle, working, poor. Inequity is built in the system, not accidental. Rich benefit, most poor carry the cost. So these rich billionaires, and they call it socialism because they're the ones that make the definitions. They call it socialism. If you say that I deserve a fair pay for a fair day's work, you look at these corporations, you look at Uber, you look at these multinational corporations that are international, and we can get money back from overseas. You know, we can use force and might to say you're going to pay us or we're going to come and get it. You're not stealing from America. We're not having your illegal aliens here, and you're not robbing us. We're going to get our money back and provide for a prosperous United States of America, a prosperous state of Tennessee. You know, Governor Bill Lee had the China Prime Minister in his office over there supporting the economy of China. They're taking over the world through technology, stealing our secrets. Let's get our money back. So people in government power are stealing our resources. It's inequity built in the system. We're fighting socialism. They're getting socialism. They're getting money that they don't deserve and taking it away from hardworking people and calling it socialism. If you ask for a fair day's pay for a fair day's work, this Uber corporation, multinational corporation, one of the most dangerous jobs in the world statistically, that you get killed on the job is a taxi driver. Is driving a taxi. They get killed at the same rate as policemen do. There's about 70 taxi drivers get killed a year, murdered on the job. There's about 70 police officers get murdered a year, murdered on the job. So a taxi driver and a police officer have the same rate of getting murdered on the job. So the way the financial system is in their favor is if they loan money, and they have a lot of money to loan, these major corporations and these rich billionaires have money stacked up in the bank, and they make money off the money that they got stacked up in the bank. They'll give you some of their money if you pay them interest and pay it back. And the way it's set up is if you are a high risk, like you don't have much money and there may be danger that you won't pay it back, then you can borrow money, but you have to pay high interest in order to borrow the money because you're a high risk. So the financial system, for them, the way they got it set up is based on risk. If there's a lot of risk that you might not pay it back, they'll loan it to you, but you have to pay them for the risk. So even when you pay it back, you pay a higher amount. So if you have bad credit, you pay them a lot of money. And you look at the risk of driving a taxi, of driving for Uber. It's a high risk. You're out here on the roads where you can get killed in a car wreck. You're out here on the roads where you get raped, robbed, murdered in a taxi. And you can look at videos where Uber drivers get choked, stabbed, punched, and people get in the car and take their money. Because it's as dangerous as a job as police. Police get paid better than taxi drivers. But Uber has flipped the financial situation. What they do is they take no risk. They're a little app on the phone. They take no risk, basically. They're in complete safety behind a computer program that is a bank, that Uber is their little money receptor. An Uber driver is just their money receptor. The money goes in to the car, and it gets wired to the Uber multinational corporation, and they take no risk. The driver is out taking the most extreme risk that you could ever take, which is you could get killed doing that. High likelihood of getting killed. What more financial risk than that? You won't make another damn dollar if you're dead. So that's extreme risk. Now, if you borrow money from them, all they're risking is that you might not pay it back if you have bad credit. They're risking they're losing money. An Uber driver is, or Lyft or whatever, is risking not that the extreme risk that they might not be able to make another dollar, they might get dead. So the financial system, they flip it on its head. You take all the risk, life-threatening risk. Same number of drivers, and they don't tell them that, hey, when you sign up, you're going to get paid pennies, and we get all the money, and if we lose you, we step over your body and hire another driver. They don't tell them that. No, they don't tell them that. I'm here to tell you, Uber, Lyft drivers, and people that are taking that risk, even these food delivery services that they advertise, they got a lot of money to advertise their theft of you because they got a lot of money, because they don't have to pay risk. There's not a lot of risk in running an app. There's a lot of risk in driving down the road and getting raped, robbed, or murdered for your money. Statistically, those people get killed. Statistically, people behind the app, Uber and Lyft managers and supervisors, don't get anything happen to them. They're in a building protected, probably paying security while you're out risking your life. So they flip the financial system. They take zero risk, zero. The driver takes all the risk, life risk, gets pennies on the dollar. Even the food delivery service, pennies on the dollar. They flip the financial system around. If you're driving for one of these companies, the legislature in Tennessee approved that system. I wonder how many of the Lyft and Uber corporations paid for their re-election campaigns. They approved the system so that they can maintain power and stay in power. I wonder. They got money to pay for advertising and stuff for them, so they flipped the financial system. When you borrow money from them, if you're a risk, they'll loan you a few pennies and you pay high interest. You pay them back a lot because you're a risk. When they take your money and you have to go through a lot of risk to get it, you get pennies and they get a lot of money based on no risk. And if something happens to you, they have no risk. They'll just hire another driver, step over your body, hire another driver. And tell the news media, oh, we're so sad. They're not sad about anything. They're sad as far as they can get another driver to take your place. You look at Haslam's grocery stores, Haslam's gas stations, their little stop and robs. He exploited people. 3 people at his little convenience store down here on Straw Plains got murdered, stabbed to death. 3 all at one time. The most dangerous job in the world, the highest risk, financial risk. You can't make another dollar if you're not alive to make another dollar. It's the highest risk you'd ever experience. About 300 convenience store workers every year get killed. That's compared to 60 police officers. You can't get a more dangerous job of being murdered on the job than a convenience store clerk. Highest risk you'd ever imagine. Mr. Haslam got rich off other people's risk, took none. He's in an office building down here off the interstate in a building, protected, scheming how they're going to defraud other people while they're already defrauding people. That's Haslam's school of business. That's what he'll teach you. He'll teach you how to get rich off other people's money. Hell's hot, Mr. Haslam, and so is Charles Van Morgan. YouTube Live, I'm pretty hot too. I'm pretty hot at you, and I'm putting it out to the public. How you rob people, and then you're a philanthropist. You give money. You give money while you're stepping over people's body. You could be stealing somebody's body and giving money to children. That doesn't make you a good man. You look at the former governor of California. You know, he was having public relations people build him up to where he was a great person. Arnold Schwarzenegger, well, he was married, fortunately, with somebody that was also a prominent name too. They could do something about it. She divorced him. He was married while he was the governor. He was having sex with his housekeeper. I mean, what worse sick man? And he's got public relations people, and he's speaking out against Donald Trump. What, boy, I believe you. You're such an honest man. What did you tell your wife when he was having sex with your housekeeper and he had two women pregnant at the same time? This is how these people are. And he's got public relations people that build him up. And they got public relations people off your money running the government. That's the type of people that are running the government. Haslam got rich off poor convenience store clerks, taking the most extreme risk of any profession in the United States of America, and stepped over their bodies and when they got their cash register out, you know, got somebody else to go because it's too dangerous going there where that cash register. Got somebody else to go in there and get that cash register, stepping over convenience store, murdered people's cars, taking that cash register, taking it to Mr. Haslam, where it's Haslam School of Business, Haslam School of stepping over bodies and raping the system of money. He could have had security in those stores. You know, they got video cameras. We're doing good security because we got security cameras in the stores. They'll film your murder. Wow, that's real good. We can catch who did it, maybe, you know, if they're not camouflaged real good. So they're just going to film your murder. Why not have the buildings locked and you sell them through a little cubbyhole bulletproof glass? If people want to come to a convenience store, why not protect the clerks? Because it makes more money when they go inside, but it also puts your convenience store clerks at risk. But you don't care about that because you want to make more money. That's Haslam School of dirty business, how to get super rich off other people's money, and then hire public relations experts to make you look like a great, honest man. When you got your name on a university that you never went to that university, but I got my name on something for that university where I studied how you're a criminal, you're a crook, you're a dirty man. And sue me, Mr. Haslam. What I'm saying is the truth. You bought the judges, you'll probably buy a ruling, but I have nothing. You've taken everything, just like you took a lot of convenience store clerks' lives that you stepped over the body and got your money. So I'm putting a little heat on you, giving you a little attitude adjustment. Give it back, crook. Give the money back. That's what I think. So what do y'all think? So these people, if you want me to speak at your local store, at your local if you want me to speak, I'm available to speak at your church or your bar, wherever. If you want me to speak, I'll put out a little more truth to you. If you like the channel and you want me to continue speaking truth to power, then like, share, and comment. We probably lost a few people because I lost the connection. Like, share, and comment. If you can contribute, hit the Cash App or hit the square icon. The way movements are successful is resources. If you can't give, don't. Hit the like icon or subscribe. So we're going to continue talking about how people in government power are doing just fine on your dime, while people carrying the load, providing the services, moving the economy, feeding people, keeping people healthy, are not getting paid for it. People that do nothing have written the laws to benefit themselves. I'm Charles Van Morgan. I'm not a licensed attorney. Don't have a bridle in my mouth. Have an education in the law, doctor of jurisprudence, have a Master of Arts in sociology. I know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm talking about the rich and their socialism. They're robbing the system of your money. So let's go on with the program. The structural social mobility. People move up and down because of policies and economy, not individual effort. So you're never going to get anywhere because Bill Haslam, these crooked people have their boot on your neck. They're not going to let you get up. Welfare debate. Conservatives, welfare causes dependency. Liberals, poverty causes lack of opportunity. They are weaponizing starvation to control behavior right now. So welfare is what these people in power are getting. The EBT program is set up as a safety net, and it needs to be expanded. It needs to be given out more to feed little children, and to feed the elderly, and to feed the handicapped, and people that aren't able to work. As a just and fair society, we ought to do that. Haslam don't believe that. He believes that you ought to work for him to starve to death. So the only people that are getting paid right now is them. Culture of poverty myth. Poor are poor because of personal shortcomings. That's what they want to tell you. Truth, poverty is caused by unequal distribution of wealth and resources. They want to tell you that people get food stamps because they don't want to work. You think people don't want to work so that they can live on $300 or $400 a month in food stamp money? Really? That doesn't make much sense. That's not true. The fact is they can probably get more on food stamps than they can work in a job for Mr. Haslam, because there's an unequal distribution of resources. So we don't need to work on the welfare program. We don't need to work on the food stamp program. We need to work on their system that they've set up of inequality, where he quits getting billions of dollars. One of the wealthiest men in the world off poor convenience store clerks. That should not be legalized. The state legislature has approved Uber to rob poor drivers. They shouldn't be allowed to operate that system of inequality in our state. That's worldwide. We should make it fair. Make it fair. So it's not a fair system. And the reason why there's extreme poverty, it's not because people's effort. It's because people have effort and they're exploited by people in power. That's just the truth. And they try to explain it to you different. Absolute poverty. Deprivation of resources that becomes life-threatening. Cutting food stamps, pushing people into absolute poverty. So there's people going hungry right now today. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to fund the food stamp program, which is what needs to be done. They're using food stamps as a pawn in their fight over power between the parties while they're getting paid. Because people on food stamps, because people at the lower rung of society, the hardworking poor that get food stamps, and the elderly that have worked hard all their life, and the people that can't work because they're not able to, are carrying the load, and they don't vote, and they're exploiting those people for power. So and familiarization of poverty. When women and children represent increasing share of poor, the shutdown hurts women and children first. So the shutdown of the food stamp program is hurting little children. Let's not lie to ourselves. It's not hurting the rich people. It's not hurting them at all. They got plenty of money. The cut down of the food stamp program is hurting little children, and it's hurting women. That's what the cut down of the food stamp program is. And if you're any kind of man, if you're any kind of human being, you don't think we ought to exploit women and little children. That's what the shutdown of the food stamp program is doing. I think the food stamp program, and this is probably unpopular to say, I think we should take money from Mr. Haslam, from the billionaires, from the multi-billionaires, and give it to feed little children and give it to feed women. And people claim that the food stamp program is keeping people in poverty, that it makes people not work, that drug abusers are using food stamps. And if you have to give food stamps to a drug addict, and the laws ought to be enforced, but in order to give it to little children, you give it to a few drug addicts, then I think that's fine. And they're getting $300 a month, maybe. And that's not a big dent in the system. The food stamp program is not a significant part of the national deficit. The Social Security program is, the military funding is, and the stuff that helps people in power that benefits them is a significant part of the spending. But the food stamp program that keeps people from starving to death, so there must be a lot of wrecks today, it's not a significant cost to society. So what if some drug addict is stealing money? The laws ought to be enforced. If 5 kids are being fed, or if 5 women are being fed because they're being exploited, they don't have money to work because the way the system is designed against them and for the powerful, then I personally don't have a problem with it. It doesn't bother me. They want to make you mad, telling you, oh, the way they put the propaganda out, drug addicts using this, and people exploiting the system. They're exploiting $300 a month. Wow, that's really going to ruin the whole society. If 10 drug addicts get food stamps and 150 children get fed, I say we feed the 10 drug addicts too. I ain't worried about it. I'm worried about feeding the little children. Now, we should try to do something about it the best we can. Try to not give the food stamps to the drug addicts or get them help or whatever. We should try to do what we can. But it's pretty stupid to starve out hundreds of children because a few people are exploiting the food stamp program for pennies. I mean, really? They're trying to divert you, creating a diversion. They're diverting you from the billionaires' mass exploitation of millions of people and billions of people all over the planet. They're trying to divert you because some drug addict, a few of them, are getting food stamps. So, wow, that's the real problem in this country is drug addict food stamp people. That doesn't bother me. $300, let them have it. Let them have it. Who cares? We should enforce the law, but the real problem, that's a diversionary tactic. They're trying to say little children shouldn't get, and some of the legislatures in Tennessee, they're making a big deal out of this. This is a huge deal for a little child to get a Coca-Cola using food stamp money, or a little child to eat a candy bar bought by food stamp money, bought by the EBT program. Wow, that's a huge deal. That's going to cause the world to crumble. See how the diversionary tactic? That doesn't bother me. I think EBT ought to be able to buy Coca-Cola for a child. Rich people's children get plenty of Coca-Colas. What's wrong with poor people getting them? And they allege falsely that, they're getting fat, and we're providing food stamps for little children to get fat. No, you're not. That's diversionary tactic. That's taking the real picture off of people stepping stepping over bodies to make billions of dollars off of you and exploiting you. Big deal. If you think it's horrible for a little kid to have a candy bar bought with public assistance money, I don't think it's a problem. If you do, I worry about you. If that bothers you and you want to grab that candy bar out of his hand, if I'm standing there, I'm not going to let you. I'm going to give you a little attitude adjustment. Why don't you worry about the billionaires that are raping people out of their money and not paying them their fair share and exploiting the financial system in their favor? And they're telling you it's a bad thing for a kid to have a Coca-Cola off food stamps. Really? If that's the way you think, you're not going to get along with me, because I think that they should have a Coca-Cola. Not too many, but they're not getting fat off food stamps. There's not enough money for the whole food stamp program that one child gets to get them fat. That's not going on. That's not happening. So that's inaccurate. That's a diversionary tactic. That's what they're trying to tell you. And I'm trying to tell you the truth. A little child, a drug addict getting food stamps, it's no big deal. If we got to give a drug addict food stamps to feed the children, to feed the elderly, then that doesn't worry me. That's not an issue. That's not a problem. It's not going to break the economy. What's breaking the economy right now is not the food stamp program. What's breaking the economy right now is the rich people in power writing laws, stealing tax money, making it legal for them to do that, like the Tennessee Supreme Court, like these rich billionaires that exploit and flip the financial system, that take no risk and make all the money. That's what's exploiting the financial system and making it hard for you to make a living. So that's what's going on in the system. They are switching the financial system around. Uber, with a little help from KPD, dangerous work. So just recently, there's a video out of where the police department here took a taxi space away and gave it to a major corporation. Took it away from a private company and gave it to a major financial institution. So here we go with the noisemakers. What do you get for broadcasting live in public? So we'll just have to speak up. So look, yeah, the little noisemakers, they're getting gone. So like, share, comment. Let's see if we got any comments we'll read. Well, the noisemakers are, let's see. They are switching the system, but you're still way off. They are working so they don't need assistance. Okay, I don't understand that. What do you say about making noise in public? You can make all you want to. It's called freedom of speech. You want to come down here? Come on down here. I'm at the Gay Street Bridge. Tell me to shut up and see what happens. I won't shut up. So I'm in my house with my family of 5. Where are you and who you with? Okay, I don't know. So we got Stephen, nothing more, nothing less from you. So we got people in here that are defamers. So go right ahead. Your dad said sink or swim. Did you sleep on the street? No help. Sounds like a lie. I don't understand what some of y'all saying. I'm American. Let me get this. I'm American. I speak English. If you come to America, you're in America. You ought to speak English. I get tired of having to speak to people and they speak Spanish and I'm like, or speak some foreign goobly gobbly, and it's like, if you cannot communicate, then we don't want to hear it. Okay, that applies to you too, Jacob. I can understand that, but I don't know what talking about facts. Okay, I'm talking about facts. Imagine funding the heart of a child and you show no accountability. Right? I can worry about 2 things at once. Okay, so God bless President Trump. I'll go along with that. God bless President Trump. And people that don't like Trump, when Biden was in office, I said, God bless Biden and pray that he'll do right too. So I'm not politically biased in that favor. When I turned 18, my dad said, sink or swim, boy, and I moved out if I could do it. Okay. So let's continue talking about the financial system and how we're being exploited by people in power and the diversionary tactic of the food stamp, the welfare program. So women and kids are the ones doing without. They call it welfare when the poor get $200. They call it subsidies when the rich get millions. Remember the bank bailout? They got billions of tax money dollars that put the whole United States in a financial crisis that you're still paying taxes for. And we're worried about little children in a candy bar. I would be worried about bailing out these rich billionaires. Let them sink. They're letting you sink right now. They're letting little children go without food right now. So maybe we ought to have no mercy on them and not worry about the food stamps. Pay people the $200 in food stamp money. Give a little child $200 a month to feed them. Let them buy a candy bar. Now let's let that happen, and let's get back the millions from the bailouts, the rich people that write the laws to give themselves a bailout. They cannot fail. They make the laws where if they run their own systems, then they get a free ride. You bail them out with tax money. But if a little child that's not responsible for the stuff that's going on can't eat, then we're going to call that welfare and say the mom had too many children and all that bull malarkey. You know, the rich people write it into the law, a legal phenomenon that's called the business judgment rule. It's the business judgment rule, which says that these rich people in office can run their companies. They can financially destroy a corporation that gets funded by the public. They can financially destroy a corporation that is too big to fail, that it hurts the economy, that taxpayers have to fund it because of and they can do a horrible job because of the business judgment rule. So they make it the law to exempt themselves from accountability due to the business judgment rule. If you're a police officer out here on the street, the lower end of the scale, and you make a decision, they hold you accountable to what has happened right on the scene in seconds. Boom, boom, boom. Got to make up your mind. Got to make it. And if you make the wrong decision, hey, they'll put you in jail. The street officer, that's not the problem. It's the problem at the people at the top. But people in government power and people in corporations, there's a legal phenomenon. They give them the benefit of the business judgment rule, which is written in the law. It's a civil defense. If you sue a corporation for stealing all your money and going bankrupt, then and saying that the manager, the corporate manager that makes millions of dollars, even when the corporation's going bankrupt, they're still getting millions of dollars. They're not based on productivity. They're based on their title. If they exploit a corporation, run it financially, then they can go into court and you sue them, try to get your money back. They can go into court and say, well, the business judgment rule. If they can allege that they act in good faith and try to get good information from people and make a decision, even if it's the most horrible decision you ever thought about making that runs the corporation, then they're covered under the business judgment rule, that they acted in good faith, that they sought advice, and that they made a decision, and even if it was a bad decision, so they're covered under the business judgment rule. They're not held accountable. Business judgment rule, that's the defense in civil litigation against these billionaires. Where if you or me out here on the street making a decision, something bad happens, we got seconds to make the decision, or we have limited resources and we can't hire the best experts, and we lose money, it's gone. We take the blunt of what the decision we made. They're shielded from their own decisions by the business judgment rule. So they don't even pay. They put they put their decisions above scrutiny by the laws that they make. And the business judgment rule is one of them. So your hard work will not make you a success. It benefits those in government power. So you're spinning your wheels for them. So you're wasting your time working hard under our system of government. So government looks broke because the money left. The government looks broke because the money left the country. Corporations use U.S. roads, hospitals, workers, police. They shift profits into offshore tax havens, accountants to avoid contributing back. Workers produce value. The system loses the money when profits are moved offshore. The money leaves the country looks broke. It's not lack of money, it's lack of accountability. So these corporations use the services of our police, fire, and they use our roads, and they wear out our roads. They take our resources, and they make a huge amount of profit, and they get all these tax breaks, and they don't contribute back to the system. They don't build our roads. We got a bridge over here that's inoperative. How many major corporations do you think use that bridge over there? Wore it out. If it is broke, like they say, wore the bridge out, shook it all to pieces with their corporate trucks, and they're bringing products, and the people at the top wore the bridge out, and then they get tax exempt status. How many Haslam trucks you think drove across that bridge with fuel, the weight and everything, wore the bridge out, and then they get tax exempt status, don't pay their fair share of taxes, get billions of dollars, don't pay to fix the bridge. We got to pay to fix the bridge, or we got to do without the bridge. So they use our resources, these major corporations, these major billionaires that write the rules, write the laws, that pay people to influence legislators, and they use our resources and don't pay back the money to build the resources back, and then they put the money in offshore accounts to where it's overseas, and rob America and use the system, and have broken down the system in America. They exploit people. They have exploited the system and made it work for them, and then taken our resources and they put them overseas, which is why we have roads in collapse. They wore our roads out, making money off our roads, and failing to pay it back. The economic system of America is in collapse. If you look behind the scenes, the corporate welfare has broken America. The fleece American workers is these major corporations, the fleece of tax money. They're fleecing tax money, the Tennessee Supreme Court thieves. The people carrying the load are not getting fed. And they're being robbed. So fair. What I start out with, we need a fair share accountable. We need to hold people accountable that are fleecing the system. We need to address the national deficit. We need to investigate offshore accounts to get the money back from the Tennessee Supreme Court injustices. Get the money back to the taxpayers in Florida. We need to investigate these offshore accounts where these corporations have raped America, used our money, used our roads, used our system, exploited our roads, wore down our system, used our resources, exploited them, wore them out, and then they don't pay the fair taxes, and then they move the money overseas and don't contribute back to the system. where we have closed down roads and the infrastructure in America is wore out by these major corporations, these people. And we need to invest, and then they move their money overseas where they're secure in another country's bank accounts, and they benefit other countries and not where they got the money from. They're fleecing America, moving it overseas. We need to go in, if need be, militarily, and say, give us our money. These companies ripped us off. They used our services, or used our resources, used our people, exploited us, and now they're bringing our money to your country. Give us our damn money back. Put it back in America. That's where it came from. That's where it belongs. We're asking for our fair share. We're asking for our bridges. They wore out with their corporate money, with their corporate use of it. We're asking for them to fix that bridge. They wore it out, leasing America. Pay for it? All right. And if you don't do it, we'll come over and we'll get it. We'll get our money. You pay us, or you'll have hell to pay. And that's what needs to be done. A fair system, and get the money back from offshore accounts. There's ways to do it without military force, electronically, and different ways to do that. But at the end of the day, if it's the only way to make America and Americans be treated fairly, then we need to do what we need to do to get what we owe, what we're due. If somebody comes and says, give me your money, and holds you at gunpoint, and says they want your money, you got to fight them. You got to say, hey, no, you're not getting my money. Knock the gun out of their hand, and put them in jail. And some of these foreign people in these foreign countries that have foreign bank accounts that the money ought to be in the United States ought to be in jail. What we need is reform of the system. The way reform starts is to vote these people out of office. And that is what voters of truth and rage. Now, I'm just telling you the truth. The system is broke. For us, it works in their favor. Voters of Tennessee enraged, or voters of truth enraged, and we need to band together with a social movement through institutional means and extra institutional means, and not breaking the law, and vote and spread the message. Like and share the video. Contribute to the channel. You can contribute through the Cash App, or you can contribute through the Square app. I'm selling a book. It's called The Former Trooper Van Morgan Story. It is a book about the criminal activity of people in government power. It is titled The Former Trooper Van Morgan Story. In an effort to save lives and correct the record, and it just spells out the truth. It's $149 if you want to order the book. I'll be glad to send you an electronic copy. If you want a hard copy, then write me, and it's a little more, and I'll print a hard copy and sign it and mail it to you. I'm only making those on demand. If you want me to speak at your local bar or church, then I'll be glad to do that. I'll sell my book. If you want me to advertise for your company, I bet after today, hopefully, we'll have spoken to about 1 million people in the last few days. In the last month, we've talked to about 1 million people. I'll show you the proof, so we can get a huge message out. If you want to advertise on the channel, then hello, then I'll be glad to do that for a small price. We'll probably be back on here Monday morning. If some news happens during the weekend, we'll show up live, boots on the ground. The only way you can find out what's really going on is talk to people that are really there. We've covered 2 protests so far. We covered the one over here on the No Kings protest, which they're protesting something that there is none, and the protest against TVA. And I appreciate people stand up for their constitutional rights, and I appreciate people that protest. But the way to get in power is not to hold up a sign on the sidewalk. Now that does bring out some attention. I get that, and I have a sign myself. The way to get in power is to vote. Go vote these people out of office. There's a governor's race coming up next year. Let's see if any of these people running for governor want to talk to me and about some of the policies in the government that represent the mass populace of Tennesseans. And one that wants to talk to me, then we'll talk to them and maybe promote their agenda. And there's a Supreme Court election coming up in 2030. Let's vote every one of their asses out of office and put them in jail and revamp the system. So I'm available to speak. If you want me, email me at charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com, and I'll come and speak for a small price at your local bar or church, and I'll try to sell my book. We mentioned the bed store up here on the bed store up here on Chapman Highway at Moody, a military veteran that let me put a sign out when I was running for city council, and also the corner market downtown, down in the UT area, that let me put up a sign. Very kind people. And also remember Zeus, that sells artwork on Market Square. So at the press pub on Market Square, if you need somebody to talk, need some art to buy, and he can tell you all about it, about what the stuff stands for. He can tell you rabbit's feet. Remember Zeus on Market Square. He works there every night. That's how he earns his living, sells artwork. He's been a good friend of mine for years. And if you want to advertise, I've got coming up on 1 million people probably today that I've talked to. I'll be glad to advertise for you. If you want to pay for advertisement, reach me at charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com, and we'll put out, if it's a reputable company and we think you're a good service, we'll put out your advertisement and recommend it to people in Knoxville and worldwide. We're getting more output, more interaction. We've got more reach than your local news channels. I talk to more people and interact with more people on this YouTube channel than Channel 6 News, is the leading broadcaster. Second would be Channel 10 News. So I got more outreach than any of those places do. So if you want the benefit of the mass public outreach of the Charles Van Morgan Show, unbridled news, then I'll be glad to advertise for you. So it'll help us get the message out more. So charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com, send me an email, and we'll work out an arrangement, and I'll advertise for you. So do that, please. And if you can give a contribution to keep the movement going, power to you, the people. Vote movement to encourage people to vote. There's more of us than there are them. There are. If the election is the same for the governor's race as it was in 2022, if we get only 26% of the people that didn't participate, then we win the election. So all we need is 26% of people that didn't vote the last time to go show up at the polls and vote for, if I run, me, or if somebody else runs that I endorse. If we get only 26% of people that didn't even vote, we outnumber them exponentially. So we just have to have a small piece of the pie that's available. And we can beat, if they show up in force and get every one of the voters that they already got, we can beat them. And if we can flip some of their votes, every vote we flip of them and convince them that of the truth they're being exploited, then that's 2 less votes we got to get, because we're taking one from them and giving it to us. So if we can get 10% of their votes, then that's like we only need 16% of the people that didn't vote. And it can be done. It can be done. If we wake people up, we can win this election. Now they've lied about me and put me in a hole And there's people on here, read Google what it says about him. Let me tell you, it's all lies. None of it is true. It's because I'm speaking out against power. So when you speak out against power, they try to defame you. Say, you can't listen to him, he's not honest. No, you can't listen to them. They're not honest. I'm the only honest one. They're the ones that are not honest. There's other people honest, but the people in government power aren't honest. Google's not honest. And if you want to buy my book, it'll show you how dishonest they are. I've got a life of service to Tennesseans, a life that represents the people and saving lives in the state of Tennessee. Let's look at this beautiful view out here. People told me they like the view. So like, share, and comment, and subscribe to the channel if you can't give. So yeah, look at this beautiful view here. And there's the ball stadium with the balls on it, you can see. And so if we get 26% of the people that didn't participate in the election, and they show up in the same numbers they did. If we only get 26% of the 5 million people that didn't vote, we win. We blow them off the map. So what we need is a little social consciousness, a little populist, which we're for you, and we're against them. We are against the people in public power. I'm not on their team. I'm against them. That's why they're running me down, because I'm telling the truth about them. So if you're telling the truth about them, obviously, they're going to try to say you're not honest, you're not credible, what Van is saying about us is not true. Obviously, they're going to say that. Who speaks out against them like I do? Nobody. So of course, they're going to deny me law license. Of course, they're going to subpoena me into court and accuse me of all kinds of heinous things when they're the ones that are committing the wrong, because they're trying to defame me. So they're trying to put me in a ditch where from the get-go people don't believe me, but I'm telling you the truth. They're the ones that are lying to you. You cannot believe them, and you can believe me. That's the truth. Now, if you want to listen to one of the Republicans or one of the Democrats, they're going to back them up, because they'll praise them, because they know if they get in office, they're going to back them up. They're not going to back you up. They're running me down because I'm backing you up, because I know how dirty the government is to you. I tried to speak at a Republican convention, and they hardly let me get 4 words out of my mouth before they told me I couldn't say that, because I was speaking out against some people in power in the crowd. Had I went in there and said the Republican Party is wonderful and everybody in the Republican Party is wonderful and y'all are great people, can I be a part of your wonderful government that you've got set up to serve you all? Then of course they would have said, yeah, man, Morgan, Charles Van Morgan, you're a great person. We welcome you into the Republican Party. But I spoke out against people in the Republican Party that are crooked, that are exploiting you, that put you in jail. People from the prosecutor's office down here that were there. So they said, no, you can't say that. You're being rude. So telling the truth is rude. Well, I'm pretty damn rude. I'm rude as hell, if that's the criteria. They're not only rude, they're deadly to you. They're deadly to you. The fatality rate in Knoxville is 45% higher than it was when I was out on the road saving lives. So if it's rude for me to tell the truth, telling the truth is evidently rude. It's unpopular to tell the truth. Well, the truth is in your favor. The 5 million Tennesseans that didn't vote, the truth is in your favor, and it's against them. Of course they're going to run me down and say I'm not credible. I am credible. They're not. I'm not controlling the government right now. How's it working for you? When I had a hand in the government, the roads were safer. That's a fact. Of course they're going to lie on me. Don't believe a damn word of it. It's all a dirty lie, and none of it they can prove. None of it. I'm the one telling the truth, and the people with high social status, these dirty judges, are lying. They're putting out stuff that's false. They're mistreating the populace. So we'll go around the state of Tennessee like I have done before, and we'll listen to the populace. We'll listen to what you got to say and put out your truth to these people that are lying to you, that are in public power. So if you believe them, how things going for you right now? They're in power. How's their government working? How's their lies working for you? It's not working very good, is it? It's because they're a bunch of dirty liars that are exploiting you. So let's look at a few questions here. So if you like the way things are going, you believe every damn word they say, then I'm probably not the right person for you. And I may run for office again. I don't know. We've gotten yardage, and we may still keep trying. It takes a lot of money to run for office, so we might. I don't know. It gets the message out. That was part of the program to run, was to get a message out, and that's worked brilliantly. I ran for governor, went all across the state of Tennessee, knocked on about 40,000 doors, and if I knocked on your door, you've talked to me, thank you so very much. And I listen to people all across the state of Tennessee. I've got the pulse of Tennesseans, and I know what y'all think, and I know how you feel about things, and I appreciate it. I've got your interest in mind. They don't. I'm telling you, they don't. I know them. And I ran for office. I got a lot of public attention, and I ran for office here in Knoxville. Went for the highest office and one of the lowest office, city council job. I didn't win either one because they lie about me. They lie. They won't even let me speak. I mean, you can look at the video in the Republican Party. They let a Democrat speak, let her finish her sentence, and wouldn't let somebody that usually votes Republican speak. It's because the Republicans don't care about Republicans. They just want somebody that keeps them in power, and that's all they care about, is somebody that keeps them in power. And if you're a Democrat and you believe you want to keep Republicans in power, they'll let you speak. But if you are for the mass populace of Tennesseans, if you want little children to eat, if you want the socialism to stop, and the socialism is at the top, it's not at the bottom. Who's causing the economy to crash is the billionaires, not the hardworking people. And then if you want somebody for me, then listen to me. If you want to listen to them, then they're the ones raping the system. They're the ones responsible for the way stuff is going on right now. So we ran for 2 offices, and might run for a 3rd. I don't know. We'll see if we get resources. And we got one of the main goals of running for city council was to win the office, to serve the public with my JD and my emergency management experience and all my education, and serve the public. But if I didn't win the office, the second objective, which has worked out very well, was to get public attention, to send a message to these people in power, which I've done pretty brilliantly, if I do say so myself, because we're coming up on 1 million people have watched this show in a little over a month, and we'll probably top 1 million people today. So I'm getting a message out that's a populist message, that is a truthful message, that is for you. It's on your side. I don't have to do this. I could go somewhere and hide and be just fine. Now, I don't make a lot of money. I make a little bit, but I can live off what I got. But I'm doing this for the public. I'm doing this out of a will to provide service, to provide a public service for the public. It's not a self-interested thing. It's not out of a vendetta. It's out of a will to fight for you all, for the major people in Tennessee, against the people in power that are lying to you. They lie to you every single day, and they exploit you. They take your money and buy them fancy houses, fancy cars, and lie, cheat, and rob, and steal. And there's more of us than there is them. And we need to get the message out to vote them out of office. Voters of truth enraged. Voters of Tennessee enraged. Voters of truth, after we get in power, it'll be voters of truth encouraged. So that's what we're doing. So join the movement. Join the social conscience. And let's get the message out all across Tennessee, all across the state, all across the United States, and give these people an attitude adjustment. And show them who's the boss, that we're not afraid of them. And we can do that. There's so many of us that if we just wake up a small percentage of people, and that's the reason why they're afraid of me. That's the reason why they're afraid of you, because there's more of us. So join the movement. Hit the square icon. Let's get at least 70 likes and some more subscribers. So let's recap. Today we talked about fair, how the system is not fair. It's rigged up by them, for them, and you pay the cost. And the way to do something about it is vote. So we'll probably be back on here Monday morning. And if there's some news this weekend, a live breaking news event that I'm close to. So we got 66 likes. Let's go ahead and get 67. Then we'll show up live on the scene at news events and talk to people right on the scene, not what NBC or ABC or CBS or CNBC or all those crooked news channels say. And I'm really very excited because our plans are coming to fruition, and I thank y'all, all of y'all, because we're reaching 1 million people. Wow, that's just incredible, the reach that we're getting. We need to, if we have a few financial resources, we can make a huge difference in society. So we got 67 likes. Let's get to 70. So if you want me to shut up, then hit the like icon. And if you don't want me to shut up, hit the like icon. So we'll be back on here probably Monday morning. We won't be back on here Tuesday because Tuesday I have somebody in my family has to go to the hospital. They have a hospital appointment, and that's more important than 1 million people. My family is. It is my personal family, because that's my responsibility. And so Tuesday we won't be on here. We'll probably be back on here Monday. And if any news events happen, stay tuned to the channel. If we pop up on Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, then it's probably because there's a major news event taking place. So watch us if we come on. And even the people in here, and I'll go ahead and say this, even the people in here who are running me down, thank you, because let's see what they say here. Somebody just come. Think about investing your listeners to take at the ridiculous of the appeals court on YouTube, the oral arguments, rulings, how corrupt the system is. Okay, yeah. So think about inviting your listeners to talk about the ridiculous of the appeals court on the YouTube, the oral arguments, rulings, how corrupt the system is. Okay, yeah. So somebody just mentioned for me to mention, I'm listening, and it's true, to listen to the ridiculous hearings on YouTube of the Tennessee Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals on YouTube. Listen to their oral arguments and listen to how ridiculous these crooked people in government power that have authority over you, that can order you to jail or order money away from you, and they do all the time. And somebody just texted me and mentioned, I appreciate it. And thank you, whoever did that, I appreciate it. Listen to the oral arguments on YouTube of these people in government power. You don't even have to listen to me. Don't listen to me. Say, I don't believe a word Van says. I don't believe him. I think he's a babbling idiot with a JD and a master's degree, and I think he's read too many books and lived long enough and seen too much evil. You don't have to listen to me. Don't listen to me. Don't. Absolutely don't. Listen to them. And thank you, whoever sent that. Listen to them. Listen to what they tell you. Go to YouTube. And thank you for bringing that up. Go to YouTube and listen to their arguments in the Court of Appeals and the Tennessee Supreme Court on YouTube. Listen to their craziness, the rulings that they put out, and think about their rulings. Who benefits from their rulings? Think about, there you go, Brian, 100%. Think about their rulings. Listen to what they're ordering in their courts of law. That's legitimate law that we have to obey. We put them in power, that we got to obey them. Listen to what they're telling you. Listen to what the Supreme Court unjustices and the Court of Appeal on YouTube. Listen to what they're saying. Don't listen to me. Listen to them. And think about, when you're listening to them, who benefits off their rulings? Who benefits off what they're saying? Just listen to them and think about, and I'll tell you who benefits. I tell you, every single time, without exception, there's no exceptions, they benefit off their rulings every single time because they own the government. It's not a constitutional government. It has nothing to do with the Constitution. They trample on the Constitution. They trample on soldiers' blood. That's why it's so disgusting. They've taken public office, and I'm glad somebody brought that up. Thank you so much. Go to YouTube and listen to them. Listen to the garbage they put out. And every damn ruling that they have, think about who benefits from the order that they've just adjudicated. They do every time. They do every single time. There's a case in court that's going to court right now at the trial court level with a man from Chattanooga that's trying to fight the on the mandatory insurance law that hurts poor people. Even if you don't have much money, they make you buy insurance. So yeah, we got a lot of fans. So listen to David Tullis. Now, I don't agree with everything he says. I agree with him fighting the government, and shout out to David Tullis. So listen to the rulings. And David Tullis is in court today, this afternoon, fighting to try to keep the poor people from having to pay the mandatory insurance law. So the state of Tennessee is forcing everybody to buy into a corporation that exploits you and moves its money overseas probably. All these insurance companies are getting super rich, billionaires, and they're making poor people get insurance, forcing you to buy from a corporation. So David Tullis is in court this morning going through their procedures, and I hate to tell him this, and I don't want to be negative, but he's fighting them in a court of law, in their courts of law. And I assure you, and I believe David Tullis is right. I don't think poor people ought to have to buy insurance. I think that rich people can get uninsured motorists, and poor people that are having a hard time eating shouldn't be required to pay into a national corporation. So David Tullis will win this case today. David Tullis will lose this case today. They will adjudicate against David Tullis in his fight for poor people all across the state of Tennessee in their Sauron, a mandatory insurance program where you have to buy a service from them that benefits them and exploits Tennesseans. They could make it, if you have a certain income, then make it to where you have to get insurance, and they could make it to where if you are afraid that somebody uninsured will hit you in a car accident, all you have to do is buy insured motorist. But they are making it mandatory that you have to have enough money in order to pay a corporation in order to drive on public highways. Now, David Toole, shout out to him. Thank you, David, for the fight. And I can tell you, hate to tell you, don't be disheartened, but you're not going to win, because you got a Tennessee judge that's bankrolling that financial situation. You're not going to win. You're not going to win in Tennessee court. You will never win in a Tennessee court against them. Now, if you have a dispute that they have nothing to do with between parties that have nothing to do with the state, then they'll figure out a way that they can benefit. They'll figure out a way they benefit and exploit the system and try to get money and rule in favor of however they can benefit. They'll figure it out because they've got the levers of power. So kudos to David Toulis. Look him up. He's fighting today in a courtroom, and he'll lose because they're not going to vote down their financial racket of mandatory insurance for the poor and everything. He'll lose bad. Now, they'll be real nice to him. They'll put it professional and rig it, but there is no way they're going to agree that you shouldn't pay into their system that benefits them. There's no way they're going to agree to that. So they will find against him and in favor of the corporations. And those corporations will take your money and go overseas with it and benefit some other country. They're not going to benefit the United States. They care less. So David Toole wins. Shout out to David. If you can support his efforts to fight for Tennesseans, go ahead. He's fighting a losing battle in court, but that is just one means, institutional means. We need to go through institutional channels, keep the fight on there, expose their corruption, and also extra institutional means. Work outside of their institutions, of their systems of government, extra institutional, which does mean forms of protest, which does mean don't go along with the program. And I'm not talking about anything violent, because the FBI is listening. Trust me. FBI, TBI, and NBC, the news channels, they're listening. They're listening well. I've had newspaper articles written about stuff I've said. They say because I said that the Gay Street Bridge shouldn't be closed down. They said that was dangerous rhetoric. I mean, what can I say? It's not dangerous rhetoric, what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a populist point of view, a Tennessean's point of view. If you're not in public power, you don't like the way the government's being run, you think you're being lied to, cheated, and you don't like the fact that they won't even fund the food stamp program for children, then you're on the right channel. If you think that I'm lying and you don't agree with me and you're putting comments in the box, then you're on the right channel too. Because whether you like it or not, you're helping the algorithm. Because YouTube, and thank you all for even your bad comments. You think that scares me? This is a fight. I'm not a toy. You're not going to influence me to do something different. You're not going to influence me to stop. If I don't want to stop, I'll stop when I get good and ready to. You're not going to bully me or intimidate me. It doesn't matter to me. In fact, you're a tool of mine. You're my tool. Thank you. People on here saying bad stuff about me, thank you. Because let me explain this to you idiots, and they won't be able to comprehend it. I hope they don't. But I will, just to be funny. All their lies on here. They're lying. Why are they even on here lying anyway? If you don't like somebody, you don't agree with what they're saying, you think they're foolish, why would you feel the need to do anything about it? If they're foolish, nobody's going to believe them. So why are they on here feeling like they got to contest it in the first place? Number one, I'm telling the truth. They know I am. I'm stepping on their feet. There's people in government power in here putting out that trash, hiding behind YouTube. Go right ahead. I'll be here Monday morning, and you can be here too. But, so that's the first thing. Why are they on here saying that? And you don't have to listen to me. Just like somebody just texted me. Listen to what they're telling you on their little road court rulings. I'm telling you a bunch of damn dirty lies ruling in their favor. So there's a fan. So that's the first thing. If they're on here running me down, why are they doing that? If they think I'm so stupid, why do they feel the need? It's because they feel the need. So that's a big deal. Yeah, they got to fight me. Why do you got to fight me if I'm so ignorant? Maybe it's because I'm not ignorant. Yeah, no, I'm not at all. I know exactly what I'm doing. Well calculated, well planned, extremely effective, more effective than any local news station here in this area. So, you know, I'm a pretty smart idiot, aren't I? So, you know, keep on here. And the second thing about these people on here running me down, and I got a lot of fans and a lot of people that just want to keep quiet behind the scenes. I thank you and understand that. You got to stick your head up. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. I got you. Trust me, I got you. I know exactly what I'm doing. There's a little fire in me. A lot of it. More than what they can deal with, I assure you. It's just innate. And God puts people in certain positions and gives them certain assignments. And I'm on mine. I'm on mine. Don't worry about it. And the second thing about people on here running me down, like I said, the first thing, listen to them. Listen to what they're saying themselves. Second thing, if I'm on here and you don't want to listen to me, why are you? Because I'm stepping on their toes. I'm trumping their toes all to pieces. I'm standing on the First Amendment Constitution, holding that up. That's what soldiers fight for. Thank you, American soldiers. I appreciate the right that you gave me in this free country. I appreciate it. And I'm standing on that right, using that right to fight for Americans, to fight for the populace. So that's the second thing, is they're on here fighting me because I'm telling you the truth. A hell of a lot of truth, ain't it? Who gets on YouTube and runs down people in government power? They're afraid of them. And also got a bunch of people, the populace knows what they do if they do anything to me. The other thing is what I'm saying is the truth. And they are, even the detractors, and this is what's funny about it, they put in comments in YouTube. And YouTube doesn't know that a comment is bad or good or evil. All YouTube knows is that there's a comment made. And when there's a comment made, it shows activity. It shows activity. And then when there's activity, YouTube spreads the algorithm. It spreads it. It makes it go further. That's why people get on YouTube and they say, like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's why I got almost 60,000 viewers yesterday. The 60,000, part of the 60,000 viewers were people that were stupid enough to get on here, that can't stand me, that hate my guts, that think I'm stomping on, that I'm stomping on them because they're in government power. And when they comment about me evil, the algorithm says that's somebody participating. Let's spread the message more. Let's spread it broader. So these people on here that are running me down are helping the algorithm. So let me tell you, that guy on there, Old Glory, thank you so much for every cruel, wicked, corrupt, stupid comment that you make. I appreciate it. You're getting it. Your comments are showing YouTube, the algorithm, you idiot. And maybe you'll shut up now. I don't care. Keep on there. None of this is true, Old Glory, I'm telling you. Maybe he's that stupid. But when you spread a falsehood, when you spread your dirty lies, and he's on here almost every day, and God bless you, I appreciate it, you dumbass. It shows YouTube and your dirty comments probably spreads it to the front of 10 more YouTube pages, and gets me the chance to one of those 10 will believe what I'm saying. So thank you so much, detractors, and you fools that get on here and post stuff that's derogatory against me. So I accidentally hit your help spreading my message for those people that believe what I'm saying. So I'm delighted that you're on here slandering me and running me down. It really doesn't. It's a good thing. So keep it up. And thank you so much for your adverse comments. I mean, it really hurts my feelings to get listened to about 10 more people when you run me down. I think you're funny. I think you're stupid. I think you're an idiot. I think you've helped me reach a massive amount of audience by your hatred towards me. So that was a tactic used by Dr. Martin Luther King and his spreading messages to the populace is to be mistreated, and people see the truth. Why are they doing that to you? Why are they getting out water hoses on black children for? Why are they doing that? And it points out that, look, they won't even let us drink out of their water fountains. And it gets a message out where people turn in your favor. So the more hatred, the more wicked, corrupt, vile stuff said about me, you're just helping me out. And, it's just pointing out how wicked you are. If I don't matter, get off my channel. And so, that's my position on that. So we got 76 likes. Let's get a few more. I got over 114 people in here listening. I hate to get off here when I got that many people. So we'll read a few comments. Screenshot that. You're nothing more than a dirty pig, and don't let anyone tell you different, man. Okay. Thank you for that comment. You just spreaded the algorithm to about 10 more fronts of Facebook, of YouTube pages, and you just helped me get my message out to 10 more people. So thank you for that nasty comment. And if you want to comment again, it'll hurt me real bad. It'll hurt me really bad. I'll really be upset. If you post one more comment, I might quit. So some of these people are beyond help, and they are helping. I don't think he doesn't understand what the algorithm is. Okay. You don't think that comments spread the algorithm? Okay. Go with that. Go with it. Because maybe it don't. Keep posting on here. So yeah, it does. Not at all. You want people to die on the streets, and you think other people are beyond help. I don't want people to die on the streets. Where do you get that from? I've saved a lot of lives. So let's flip it real good, right? Let's flip it. Let's say that Charles Van Morgan's for people dying, right? Okay, yeah, get that lie passed. People in state power tried to say that. I saved more lives than any trooper in the state of Tennessee. So you're gonna flip it, and that I want people to die on the streets. I wanted the opposite and acted in the opposite. So what you're saying is complete total opposite. So spread that lie on the YouTube algorithm, and let me get my message out. Because I can show you numerous awards, and I didn't do it for awards, where I got thanked by people in state power when they thought I was on their crooked team for saving people's lives. So what you're saying is the exact opposite of the truth. And because you say it's true. No, because I save people's lives. That's what's true. So face facts, you killed a kid. Okay, face facts, I killed the kid. Where did that happen at? Where did I kill the kid? So yeah, face facts. Where's that fact at? Did you Google that and come up with that or something? Because if you found it on Google, it's true, right? Yeah, I saved people's lives. I got a man out of a burning car on I-640. People drive drunk and kill themselves. I haven't never killed anybody. I've saved people's lives. I've tried to save people's lives who were driving drunk. So let's flip it. I went to law school, dude. I graduated from law school. I know how to flip it and flip it good. I know what you're doing, and I know how to tell the truth and tell it good. That's why I'm on here with my face on here, and you're behind a YouTube screen trying to flip a lie. And go ahead. It doesn't matter to me. Oh, I'm hurt so bad. You dirty liar. And if you let me tell you this. And you get this real good, because I want you to understand that. Because this is your damn warning right here. Okay. Now you can say on here, you're a coward. You can write that down there. Write it down. Put that on your little comment. Write that down. I'm a coward. Now you come out here on the road where I'm at. I'm not hidden anywhere. And you try to hurt me, and see what happens to you. And see if your little facade, your little comment works out well for you. Because I promise you, let me assure you, I got every God-given right to defend myself, and your little comment is going to work out in your demise. So stay on YouTube and preach your lies, and don't be a real tough guy and come out here and I'm just telling you the truth. So people remember that. You think and that's what they say. Oh, he's a coward. Yeah. Well, come out here and try to hurt me and see how far I run from you. So, and if you don't understand that, listen to the first part of the video. You know, I learned that when I was 7 years old. So post your dirty lies on here. That's fine. You're helping my algorithm. You're improving my circumstances. You're improving my lot in life. And I certainly appreciate it. So we got 77 likes on here. So let's get a few more subscribers. We're up to 123 views. Get a few more subscribers and try to get 100 likes. And we'll read some of the comments. And I mean, such vile people. Yeah, you do. You know how to tell the truth and tell it good. That's why you're not in prison. I'm not in prison because I haven't committed any crime to put me in prison. The people in the courthouses, that the judiciary and the people in power in the state of Tennessee ought to be in prison. And there's a lot of people in prison that shouldn't be in prison. And that's what I think. That's what I think, and that's what I know. So drop the okay. Bet you won't debate me. Won't debate you about what? Maybe you should read a few books and learn a few things. Maybe get a little education, and then maybe you might have something to debate about. But I won't debate you. I mean, wow, what a astounding statement. Wow, you're just a genius. I won't debate you. I bet you won't debate me. Well, what do you want to debate about? I mean, you're not even putting anything on there that makes any sense. So no, I wouldn't. I don't debate. I mean, you want me to debate? I mean, what kind of fool are you? What a cup that wants people to die on the streets. I didn't want people to die on the streets. That's not true. That's a lie. And stay on your little page here and lie on me and help my algorithm out. And I sure appreciate you commenting. You need to comment again. I didn't get that. Can you comment again to help the algorithm? Don't give an invite. That's practically permission. No, it's not. I'm out here and that's fine, and I'll defend myself, and I got a right to. It gets rid of scumbags. So, hey, Charles, do you, okay, so you didn't kill anybody. I read differently. So you believe everything you read? I mean, really? Are you that much of a nut? So final thing, you want to support the movement, hit the square icon, hit the like icon, hit one of the super chats, and thank you all so very much for hanging with me today. And if you want me to speak at your club, or you know, I'm reaching more people than the local news channels are, send me an email at charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com. If you have some information about the government, adverse information about the state of Tennessee government or the local government, that you get on my confidential survey. I won't tell who sent it, and I've got a lot of good confidential information. And send me the information you got, and if it's something worthy, I'll put it out. If you want me to speak at your church or bar, then send me an email, charlesvanmorgan@gmail.com, and I'll sell my book. If you want to pay me some for doing that, I'll be more than happy to do that. And I appreciate all my listeners. I bet today we're probably on about 1 million people that we've contacted. Thank you all so very much. May God bless you all, I pray, for your wonderful support and your wonderful comments, all my support. And we'll keep going on with the program. If we get some special, if we show up on your inbox, then we're probably doing live news Saturday and Sunday. If something happens in the state of Tennessee, we'll cover it live, boots on the ground. Other than that, we'll be back Monday morning. Invite comments. I invite hitting the survey if you want to remain anonymous. It's on my YouTube page. Click the icon, hit the survey. If you want to support the movement, resource mobilization, the more you support the movement, the more we got means to get out, and the more we are able to spread the message, fighting for the public against people in power, fighting for their lies, fighting against their lies for you all, and join power to you, the people. So the last thing I always say is God loves you, and I do too.